Shalom, I'm Angel. Welcome to Healthy in Heart, where I hope you are healthy in heart, mind, body, and soul. I have been gone a long time, probably close to 2 years. And why is because, well, for one thing, I was getting a little burnout because editing and videoing and then editing what you videoed to make content is time consuming. It truly is, especially the editing part. But also, I have taken this time to focus on my health. And I had almost reversed my diabetes up until I became allergic to nightshades. What I was using to help with my blood sugar was ashwagandha, and that is a nightshade. And the allergy is what was causing the rash on my hands. I'm not sure if any of you remember that, but I was getting eczema rash on my hands, and so that was just process of elimination. I finally eliminated the foods I really didn't want to, because I love tomatoes and I love peppers, especially the hot spicy peppers. But once I eliminated them, the rash has gone away. So once I stopped taking ashwagandha, my blood sugar shot up. I was able to 2 years ago get off of insulin, and then I was on metformin, and then I was able to get off of metformin, and my blood sugars were running really close to normal. So I was really close to reversing the diabetes, and then I had to stop the ashwagandha, which ashwagandha does help with blood sugar issues for most people. But when I stopped it, my blood sugar shot up, and it had not come down. So December of the last week of December, I just decided that, the doctor wanted to put me on Mounjaro for my blood sugar before, and I didn't want to, because usually especially with blood pressure medicines, I get the worst side effects possible. So I was a little scared to inject something into my body that's going to be affecting my body for a week or more. But I decided to go ahead and give it a try. So I contacted Remedy Plus, I believe that's what it's called, and I got Tirzepatide through them, and I took it for 1 month. And today is the last day. Yesterday was the last day of the 4 weeks. For side effects, on week 1, I had on day 3 some minor constipation, which was gone the next day, because we do eat a whole food plant-based diet, and I get a lot of fiber. Week 2, I had a couple of mild headaches and feeling cold off and on. Especially my fingers felt really cold. Week 3, I had 3 nights of beautiful sleep. Like, I did not wake up once, and I slept through the night. So that was awesome. And I've had several really good nights of sleep since. But those 3 nights in that week, I just really made a note of it, because it was unusual. The night after taking the 3rd injection, I felt really full that night. And then the next morning, I was a little nauseous for a couple hours after waking up. And then the Saturday following that, I take my injections on Thursday morning. So the Saturday following that third injection, I had diarrhea all day Saturday, then back to normal on Sunday. Week 4, which was this past week, I had mild burping, but that could be related to the seltzer water that I drank. So, I mean, that could have been caused by the seltzer water. There was no eggy, it wasn't like the eggy belching burp. It was just burping. Now, even though I decided to take the Mounjaro Tirzepatide for my blood sugar, I'm hoping it'll help me lose weight too, because I have been struggling with my weight since for the last 40 years. I mean, I started gaining weight when I was 12. So for the last 40 years, I've been struggling with my weight. So I've lost 70 pounds several years ago, and I've been able to keep it off. Because my highest weight was 306. My current weight, when I first started Tirzepatide Mounjaro, was 236. And so week 1, I lost 0.6 pounds. Week 2, I lost 1.1 pounds. Week 3, I gained 1.1 pounds. And week 4, I lost 0.7 pounds. Now, what I do, I don't focus on the specific number of the scale any particular day, because I know that your body is going to gain weight, but based on water, fecal matter, muscle weight, fat gain, or loss. So, I mean, the scales are not going to be weigh the same every single day. Your body weight fluctuates, and so I take a weekly average. I weigh myself every morning before I put my clothes on, and I use the weekly average because that will tell me whether my body weight is trending up or trending down. So those numbers, up and down, up and down, up and down, which has been the pretty much what I've done for the last, 7 years. But I did end up, after 4 weeks, having a loss of 1.3 pounds total. So while I did start taking the Mounjaro, or the Tirzepatide, for my diabetes, I'm also hoping it will help me lose weight, because there is not a single obese person that's healthy. Obesity is a disease in itself. So Mounjaro is rated for diabetes, and Zepbound is the brand that's for weight loss. One thing I noticed the very first day I noticed after taking the shot, the food noise was just really majorly diminished. It's not gone away completely, but it's manageable. And what I mean by food noise, for a lot of people who don't understand, I had to explain this to my husband because he doesn't have it. Food obsession. Like, if there is something in there, like for instance, chocolate cake or a candy bar or something like that that's in there, it's mentally, I think about that and obsession. I obsess about that until it's all gone. Like, I will literally obsess on it, like fixate on it until it's all gone. And I've been like that as long as I can remember. I remember being 3 or 4 years old and eating so much that I puked at 3 or 4 years old. It was before I started school, so it was 3 or 4 years old that I've always binged like that, like eating so much that I lose control over the amount of food that I consume. The binging has been significantly lessened since we went whole food plant-based. But guys, there's a lot of people who are whole food plant-based are like saying, oh, you don't have to watch how much you eat, just watch for calorie density. I watch calorie density. I do. I eat a lot of vegetables that are low in calories. But I've still not been able to lose weight eating a whole food plant-based diet. No oil and no salt. So yeah, that's the best way I can explain food noise is food obsession. Like it's an addiction. Um, and there is addiction in my family. There's a family history of addiction, and I think instead of the drugs or alcohol with me, it was food, and it started when I was, 3 or 4 years old, and so they're now doing studies about how Mounjaro Tirzepatide, I'll just use Tirzepatide, how Tirzepatide is helping with addictions like alcoholism and drugs and cigarette smoking, things like that. They're actually doing studies on that now. So, and with the experience that I've had so far, I mean, it's only been a month, and so far it is manageable. It has, I mean, even on the lowest dose, which is 2.5, it is manageable. So I started last week. I got my fourth dose of my next month's dose of the 5.0 of the Tirzepatide from Remedy Plus. And the problem is it sat in the truck. It was on the truck for delivery on Saturday, but we had a cold front come in and they changed the delivery. Monday was Martin Luther King Day, so there was no deliveries on that day. So it sat in the truck on the really, really cold days for 3 days before it was delivered on Tuesday, and I just didn't feel safe taking it. And I contacted the pharmacy that did it. It was a Boothwyn Pharmacy. They never got back to me. I was able to leave a message, but they never got back to me. Sorry about that. I got a phone call. So where was I? I was telling you about the last week. So how it works is after you've been taking your third shot is when you contact the place to let them know that you're ready for your next shipment, and then the doctor decides whether to increase your dose or keep it the same or decrease it, whatnot. Well, with Remedy Plus, it sat in the truck for the whole long weekend of below freezing temperatures, so I did not feel comfortable using that medication. So, so, um, I'm sorry, I keep getting interruptions. I heard about Mochi on Instagram, and I looked into it, and their prices are better than Remedy One and Remedy Plus, and they actually have more services, like they have nutritionists that you can speak with, and in addition to having to speak to the doctor to get the medication, whereas with Remedy Plus, you didn't have to. They were there if you wanted to, but you didn't have to. And I prefer speaking with the physician myself. So, I mean, there's a little interpersonal relationship there. So I went with Mochi and got my delivery. I called, I had the appointment last Wednesday, right? Yeah, the day before I took the third dose, and then I sent a photocopy of the medication that I was currently taking in the prescription. And so after the doctor sent in the medication, it was for 4.4, and the Mounjaro is from that you get from a regular doctor. The prescription goes from 2.5 to 5.0. But with Remedy Plus, because it is a compounded medication, it is added, has vitamin B3 added to it. because it's like that, they have changed their dosing, so it's 2.2, 4.4, and then up from there. So their dosages are different, and I think that has to do with whatever the equivalent is for copyright for medications. So Mochi also offers a nutritionist, and I did have an appointment with a nutritionist 2 days ago on Tuesday of this week, and I met with Wendy Kirby, and so she put me on a diet of 1,941 calories, 1,941 calories, 107 grams of protein. Now, I may end up having problems hitting the protein goal every day because I usually hit between 60 and 70 grams of protein. But they emphasize the protein, and I know you hear in the whole food plant-based community a lot. You don't have to focus on protein. Everything has protein. Yes, it does. But the reason they focus on protein is to prevent hair loss and muscle loss while you're losing weight. So, or to decrease the amount of hair loss and muscle loss. So anyway, that was what she put me on, and so the suggestions she told me to make sure I get enough protein was maybe add some protein powder to something as long as it has more than 10 grams of protein. And I do have vegan protein powder. Garden of Life is a really good brand. And I think theirs is like 16 grams of protein. I could be wrong on that, but I believe it's 16 grams. Or use quinoa instead of rice. And as far as exercise, I told her about how for the last 2 years, I've been exercising for an hour to an hour and a half after meals on most days, just to keep my blood sugar lower. And I don't have time for that. I mean, it's not sustainable to have that much exercise unless that's all you've got to do. But I'm a caregiver, so I was a caregiver for my mother-in-law. I'm a caregiver for my daughter and my husband, and possibly even my mother. So I don't have time to spend on the treadmill or in the gym all the time. So one of the suggestions she said is don't increase your exercise. Right now I'm exercising up to an hour a day, sometimes up to 2 hours a day. Just, if I feel like I want to exercise more, then I will exercise more. But it's not like I'm doing it after every single meal. Because that's all I felt like I was getting done was exercising, eating, exercising, eating, exercising, eating, exercise. Like it was just always on repeat. Like that's all I got done. To where the house was suffering as far as the cleanliness, because not that it was like filthy, but I wasn't vacuuming every day. I wasn't sweeping the floors every day. I wasn't mopping every day. Just the regular upkeep, which I am doing now, that I'm not having to exercise. So I am getting some activity in that way, but I'm not intentionally getting on the treadmill and walking for an hour after every meal or more. But what she said to do, instead of increasing the amount of time that I'm exercising, she's suggested to increase the intensity. And what she suggested with that was using weights on my arms and ankles, or a weighted vest. So I do have some of those coming. And then she wanted to see me again in 9 to 12 weeks, I guess, to evaluate how much weight I've lost and to, I guess, give me new calorie guidelines, new protein guidelines. But she said she's available, and I really like this. She's available, the doctor's available, the Mochi team is available if I have any questions or anything. That way. Another thing about Mochi is they trade up the medication so that the medication is in the same size vial. You always take 50 units of the medication, but the quantity of the medication that's in the vial is different. So, but you always take the 50 units, which is a little easier to remember than the other companies. What else? But I really like their pricing schedule. So I did the 3-month, and because I wasn't sure how my body would be able to handle it. But the next time it renews, I believe I'm going to do 6 months or a year. But the 3-month is $199. So that equals out to about $66 a month for 3 months, and that includes your doctor visit and your visit with a nutritionist, and the medication is separate. The medication is $199, and it's always $199. So I like that there are no surprises with that. But it's so basically $200 for the medicine plus 66, so $266 a month for the medication and for the doctor and the nutritionist care. And that is, it was over 300, close to 400 that I was paying with Remedy Plus a month. So I really like the Mochi better as far as cost wise and quality of care. And the way that the Mochi medication, the Tirzepatide, was shipped with Mochi, it was shipped in a thermos with 2 ice packs in there, and the ice packs were still frozen when they got here 2 days later, 3 days later. Let's see, it was, yeah, I think 2 days later it was still frozen, and the medication arrived cold. So I was really happy about that. Plus the thermos, you can reuse it. You can use it if you're going traveling, whatnot. You can use it for water, whatever. But I really like that. I will film the next shipment I get, just so you can see me opening the box and seeing what all's in there. But it did come with the needles that I need and the medication, and that was in the thermos with the ice packs, and alcohol pads also. So, how has my blood sugar been? My blood sugar started coming down the next day after taking the shot. Actually, the same day I started taking the shot. It started coming down. And so right now it's hovering around in the 130s, which is still too high, but it is much improved. And I will do a video next week to let you know how much, if anything, I've lost. I will let you know how my blood sugar is doing, and any side effects that I've had this week. Yeah. So I will do an update video next week and let you know what's going on. May Yah bless you and keep you and give you shalom. God bless.